Hey everyone, it's Colin from Stash. Going to give you a quick rundown on how to add your first buyer brief to your buyer pipeline. If you're not a member, you can get a free trial at stashproperty.com.au. If you are a member, simply log in, go to the top right hand corner and add on buyer brief. Alternatively, you can go down to the buyer pipeline in the bottom left hand corner. So here I can go down to all the buyers that I'm currently working with. We integrate with other systems such as game plans and systems down under, so you don't have to retype buyer information from system to system. We're also working on a couple other CRMs at the moment as well. But to give you a run through, I'll just click on one of the buyers that I'm currently working on. Here's the brief that this buyer in particular, John, has given me. So he's looking for an investment property. He's looking for a buy and hold strategy. His budget's between 800 and a million. He's looking at buying, say, a 3-bedroom house. He wants to be close to the beach in a quiet street. He's looking in Victoria. He's given me some suburbs here down in Mornington Peninsula, so we've brought those suburbs in. If you didn't have any suburbs or your buyer didn't have any suburbs and you're just looking at, say, an investment property and chasing those yield targets or suburb growth targets, you can leave all the suburbs blank and simply use our investment criteria. So if you can chase suburbs with, say, 5% yield or 10% capital growth, for instance, year on year. So you can bring in those suburbs and we'll search all the 15,000 suburbs to bring you a hit list of suburbs that, that might match those investment criteria as opposed to, targeted suburbs that the buyer's interested in. You can also add their current portfolio. So if they've got any properties, you can bring them into here. So over time, as the market changes, when will this buyer, say, be ready to have enough available equity to go again? We'll monitor that and alert you of any changes to that. Suburb shortlists in here. So my buyer's given me a list of suburbs, but I'll also bring back some other suburbs below here, which you can curate. You can go through them. So if your buyer's given you a list of 5 or 6 suburbs, you can have a look at any surrounding suburbs that might also match that brief and bring them in and present it back to your buyer. Here we'll also do your agent outreach. So if you're not familiar with this area, or even if you are, and there's a lot of difference in terms of agents and agent changes. So this is really good way to build your network of selling agents. So in Mornington Peninsula, there's a lot of agents down there. But what we're going to do here is, so based on the brief that my buyer is interested in, which is the 800 to a million 3-bedroom houses, I'm going to look at all the properties that these agents have sold and only surface the ones here that might have a property or have sold properties similar to the brief you're actually working on. So you can connect your Gmail into here, you can connect your Microsoft Outlook into here, and you can basically create emails. So you can use our little Write with AI tool. We'll automatically write the email for you. We'll shortlist, really condense short email summary that you'd probably typically write yourself anyway, but we'll do it all for you. Any emails that you send through this system will come from your email address. It'll be one email per agent, so it's not going to be a bulk email or anything like that. And any replies are going to go straight back into your inbox. So it'll basically look as if you've written those emails yourself. So we'll do all that for you. Off-market properties and pre-portal properties we'll also bring in. We'll also done withdrawn listings. So if there is any withdrawn listings over the last year that haven't sold that may match your brief, you can reach out to the agent that may have listed that property before to see if they're ready to come to market again. On-market properties, obviously, we'll also do that. We'll also analyze not just every property that's on market, but we're going to look at what was the things or the requirements that that buyer was interested in. So my buyer was interested in being near the beach and he was interested in being on a quiet street. So we'll search every property on the market and start to analyze and bubble to the surface any of the ones that really match. So this one here, we've got a 72% match. We can go in and interrogate that, go into the property itself and do your due diligence. Check out our other videos on some of those around how to do the due diligence using Stash. But here I've got a property that my buyer is probably interested in, so I'll shortlist that one. We've got a couple of properties that I've already looked at for John. And we can look at then analyze these properties individually to go based on the buyer brief and based on the property itself, does it match the brief or doesn't it not match the brief? So my buyer's just in a house, a 3-bedroom house on a 600 square meter block, so it matches. We click on some other ones here, it'll say, it matches all the brief. He's currently looking for 600. This one's 5 meters short. Is that a problem or is that a compromise that the buyer can have? So we'll do all that for you on every single property and then give you a nice condensed report that you can present back to your buyer, fully branded in your own livery, your own logos, and it'll completely summarize everything that you've currently spoken to your buyer about in one nice, neat report. So this is all branded in your own livery. We'll write the summary for you, so kind of like a cover letter that you can present back. That's one click away. It'll give you a summary of everything that you've spoken to that buyer about in that brief session. Here's just a bullet point of everything that you've spoken about. Here's a list of every suburb that you've looked at, so all the different suburbs that my buyer wasn't interested in. We're going to give you a quick summary on every single one of those suburbs. And then we're going to have our property shortlist. So any of the properties that are bubbled to the surface for John, I'm going to present back into here in a nice, fully branded, really professional way. We're going to do all those risk overlay checks to make sure there's nothing untoward. A couple of these properties do have some bushfire prone areas. This is the neighborhood profile, so distance to amenities, that sort of thing. Is it on a quiet street, as this one particularly was? We'll also bring in that why is it a good match, everything that we've written or helped you write for you, any of the comparable sales. So we're basically doing a CMA on every single property inside this brief. We'll bring in all the comps. You can select your own comps and bring it to that to help justify that price of that what that property may be worth. And step by step, you can do that for every property that you've shortlisted. That's the buyer brief. If you've got any questions, reach out to the team. We'll be happy to help. Cheers.